There's a moment in every market cycle when a sleeping giant wakes up, and when that giant happens to build submarines, the world pays attention. ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems, TKMS, has just been valued at 5.3 billion euros. But here's the twist. This isn't just another IPO. It's a political message disguised as a financial event. The question isn't, should you buy the stock? It's, what does this reveal about the future of Europe, war, and wealth? In the next minutes, you'll understand why TKMS, a defense company that's been quiet for decades, is suddenly exploding in value. How Germany's military pivot after decades of pacifism turned defense stocks into the new tech boom. The deeper psychology behind investor behavior when fear and opportunity collide. And most importantly, what this tells us about where to put your money in a world that's rearming, rebuilding, and redefining power. Let's rewind. For most of the post-war era, Germany avoided the global defense spotlight. Its military was restrained by history, by treaties, and by public opinion. The word Rüstung, armament, carried emotional weight, a reminder of a past everyone wanted to move beyond. ThyssenKrupp, one of Germany's oldest industrial giants, quietly built ships and submarines for NATO allies, but never flaunted it. TKMS, its marine systems arm, was more of a technical jewel than a financial one. A precision engineering firm buried deep within a sprawling conglomerate of steel, elevators, and heavy industry. Then, the world changed. When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, something broke in Europe's economic psychology. Germany announced a 100 billion rearmament fund, the largest military shift since World War II. Suddenly, defense wasn't taboo. It was strategy. It was sovereignty. It was survival. And that's when investors started to whisper, what if TKMS isn't just a shipbuilder? What if it's the next Lockheed Martin of Europe? Here's the irony. For decades, ThyssenKrupp tried to sell TKMS. No one wanted it. Defense wasn't sexy. Profit margins were low. Contracts were bureaucratic. The world was globalized, peaceful, predictable, or so we thought. Fast forward to 2025. Global stability? Gone. Supply chains? Militarized. Energy? Weaponized. The old idea that defense stocks are boring evaporated overnight, and TKMS found itself in the eye of the storm. Why? Because submarines are the ultimate asymmetric weapon. They're silent, invisible, and strategic. And Germany builds some of the best. When analysts began to model the valuation of TKMS, they realized something shocking. The order book alone, from Israel, Norway, and South Korea, was worth billions. Future EU naval programs could double that. This wasn't just a military company. It was a long-term cash machine tied to national security budgets. So why did ThyssenKrupp spin it off now? Because timing is everything. And in markets, timing often hides the real story. By separating TKMS, ThyssenKrupp unlocks value, but also insulation. It separates cyclical steel from structural defense. It gives investors a pure play on Europe's defense resurgence. And in doing so, it sends a message to the world. Germany is done apologizing for power. Let's decode what's really happening. This IPO isn't about submarines, it's about psychology. The psychology of nations rediscovering power. The psychology of investors chasing protection instead of growth. And the psychology of value creation during fear cycles. When fear enters the market, two things happen. People hoard safety, or they invest in the machinery that provides it. Historically, the biggest fortunes weren't made in times of peace, but in transitions between fear and stability. World War II created Boeing. The Cold War created Lockheed and Northrop. The War on Terror created Raytheon's dominance. Now, Europe's new Zeitenwende, its historic turning point, may create TKMS. But the insight goes deeper. This isn't just about Germany building submarines. It's about Germany building independence from US tech dominance, from Russian energy, from Asian manufacturing. And the vehicle of that independence is industrial renewal. Defense is just the spark. So when you look at that valuation, 5.3 billion euros, you're not seeing numbers. You're seeing narrative capital. You're seeing national identity, investor optimism, and geopolitical realism all priced into one ticker symbol. Let's connect the dots through some examples. Case 1. Lockheed Martin during the 1990s. After the Cold War, everyone thought defense was dead. Stock prices dropped. Then came the Kosovo War, 9/11, and the Pentagon's modernization boom. Lockheed became one of the century's best-performing stocks. Case 2. Saab in Sweden. Once a car company, Saab transformed into a defense electronics leader. Its share price tripled when European countries started rearming after 2022. Case 3. BAE Systems in the UK. Ignored for years. Then came rising NATO budgets. Suddenly, BAE was a national asset and a global investor favorite. And now, Case 4. TKMS, Germany's submarine specialist. World-class technology, strategic timing, geopolitical tailwind, financial independence from ThyssenKrupp steel cycles. Each of these stories teaches one thing. When industries align with state strategy, valuations explode. Defense isn't just protection, it's projection. It's the visible edge of invisible politics. For investors, this means something simple but profound. Follow the funding, not the fear. So how can you play this moment? Step 1. Watch the IPO carefully. Understand not just the price, but the partners. Who's underwriting? Who's buying early? Which funds are taking strategic positions? That's where the story leaks first. Step 2. Analyze government budgets. Defense budgets are the truest economic indicators of intent. If NATO allies increase maritime spending, TKMS has multi-decade tailwinds. Step 3. Think ecosystem. TKMS's value doesn't stop at submarines. It's tied to propulsion, software, AI navigation, cybersecurity, an entire defense tech ecosystem waiting to emerge. Step 4. Apply the dual narrative lens. Don't see it only as a company. See it as a signal. When a nation spins off its defense crown jewel, it's telling you what it believes about the future. And right now, Europe believes in self-reliance, security, and sovereignty. Step 5. Remember the investor's paradox. You don't make money when everyone's optimistic. You make it when fear creates clarity. And today, defense stocks are clarity made visible. So here's the funny part. A few years ago, if you told anyone to invest in submarines, they'd laugh. Now, it's a symbol of modern security, engineering excellence, and financial momentum. TKMS is more than a ticker. It's a story of reinvention. It's Germany rewriting its industrial destiny. It's Europe learning to defend not just its borders, but its balance sheets. And maybe that's the real wealth lesson here. When the world changes, don't fight the tide. Surf it. Because the investors who understand power shifts before they hit the headlines. They don't just read history, they own it. Stay curious. Stay rational. And remember, every market wave starts with a whisper under the surface. Subscribe for next week's deep dive on how defense spending quietly reshapes the global economy. This was Money Decoded. See you next time.